Surprise. Hello, welcome to Film Fireside. My name is Bryson. Invisible Man was directed by Leigh Whannell, written and directed by Leigh Whannell. Having been disenfranchised a little bit by horror movies recently, I'm glad that this wasn't actually a horror movie. I would personally, I would classify this more as a thriller. Going into this movie, honestly, I had kind of low expectations. The trailer kind of led me to believe it was just gonna be another trope-filled horror movie. But I wanted to see it still because there was at least an original idea, or at least an original sounding idea. So I had hopes that, hey, maybe this would be better than I thought. And quite frankly, I was right. It was much better than I thought. This film's like bread and butter, just the main thing about this movie that allowed this film to work so well for me was its cinematography. It was so good. It was just so methodical and just eerie. It was just really, it was almost, the cinematography in this film almost felt like it was a third character in a scene. If there were two people there, the cinematography's work almost made it feel like there was a third person involved. The brilliance of the cinematography really shines in just the first 10 minutes of the movie, where she's just trying to sneak out of the house. Just edge of my seat, so eerie and tense, and yet also at the same time I was in awe while on the edge of my seat, getting ready for a jump scare that may or may not come. It was so stunning, and quite frankly, it was fairly simple for the most part. Without the cinematography in this movie, I feel like this movie would have really been a downer for me. It would have just kind of been whatever. See, I say that though, and that transitioning to my next point, I have to give credit to the incredible performances from everyone. Everybody in this movie just knocked it out of the park. And the dialogue is written in a very engaging and natural manner. And this is a type of movie, since it's a very unique thing happening, it can be really easy for very weird, cheesy things to be said, and it's not. It's very well written. The dialogue is very well written. And for the most part, the structure of the film, the writing in regards to just structure of how things flow and work, is very, very well. For the most part, I have a few problems with that, and I'll get to that in a second. One of the reasons I get disenfranchised with horror movies is its lack of care, I guess, or even maybe care is the wrong word. Honestly, the phrase "give a damn" that's the one that's coming to my mind. I just don't think horror movies sometimes give a damn about a good message, and that's really a shame because horror is such a great way to teach. This film really gave a damn, and you can tell by the very strong theme that exists. This idea that, there's an invisible man who's tormenting my life, and then makes me to believe that I'm the one who's crazy. There's a very strong significance, and also very on the nose, a very on the nose semblance to their relationship within the film. There's gaslighting, there's emotional abuse and mental abuse. And those are things that are hard to deal with, and very scary to deal with, and placing them within this type of setting is a very effective way to tell that type of story. Transitioning into some of the dislikes of the film, though, like I said, the theme was very good. The third act kind of went, it started to go south a little bit for me in the third act. From here on out, I'm going to talk more spoilers as I get into the things I didn't really like about the movie, so you've been warned. The third act didn't really work for me. Parts of it didn't work for me, especially in the police station where she tricks Adrian into coming out and by almost committing suicide with the whole pen. And that scene was fine. That was a really good idea. It was a really good twist. And to see them start to fight at the police station and him just start beating on a police officer, I just kept feeling like they're using the same thing over and over again. He literally takes out 8 police officers, and they're all still trying to go for Cecilia. It was a little unbelievable at that point, and it was just kind of annoying. And also, action scenes, especially high and intense action scenes like that, where stakes are high and everything's on the line, especially at the climax. You should feel like I'm watching a soccer game where there's just a bunch of stuff happening. The ball's going back and forth and this, and there's all these people. I can just get a big view and understanding what's going on. Even if the camera zooms in on a specific thing happening, I should feel like everything around me is like also fighting for the same objective. The fight scene at this felt more like a game of chess, where it was like, all right, Cecilia does blank and blank and blank. Adrian does blank and blank and blank blank, and Cecilia watches hopelessly. Adrian does it and starts to get away. Cecilia, having watched the whole thing, then decides to pick up the gun, which she should have done forever ago, and then moves on. I feel like I was stuck in traffic for the third act of the movie. Just stop and go. And the thing about that, though, because I really enjoyed like the end scene. I really liked how they ended this movie. I thought the ending, like ending was extremely well thought out and a really good way, like solid, happy ending type of way to finish the movie. They leave us going, all right, good, she did it, and in a very like weirdly satisfying way too. But to get to that point, there was a lot of things that needed to perfectly happen. And this is where the structure problems come into play. I feel like the structure was forced to meet the end of the film, if that makes sense. One of the reasons I think that is back to this stop and go, stuck in traffic fight scene that was more like a game of chess. Adrian takes time to be like, instead of hurting you, I'm gonna hurt the ones you love. That little girl, she's in trouble. And then like goes to get the little girl, which causes her to go and shoot Tom instead. So that's one of the evidences that didn't really flow for me. It was a little one of those kind of like cheesy, weird, why say that?
Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation.
The other really big problem I have with that is, why in the world does Tom care? Why is he trying so hard to help?
What will you learn? That your actions have consequences!
I didn't get to understand or even appreciate the fact that he was helping. I didn't feel like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You know, I was just like, why? Why are you helping? I don't know. It was just really weird. It just didn't make sense to me. And again, it seemed forced so that way we could get to the end of the movie. You know what I mean? So we get to the thing that we really wanted, that everyone involved with this project was like, we really want this part and we have to make sure this happens. We're not giving up on this part. Even though the story they were telling beforehand didn't really go that direction, they like halted the natural flow and just made it go the way they wanted it to. So I felt a little manipulated by certain structural things. They just wanted to get to that really powerful and, quite frankly, well done end scene. All in all, Invisible Man is great. You know, it's a good movie. I think my score, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. You know, the things that bother me kind of bothered me a little bit more, especially now that I've had time to sit with the movie a little bit. But they don't ruin the movie, you know what I mean? I still enjoyed it. I'm really glad I saw it still, and I definitely think you should go see it. Thank you for watching. I want to hear your thoughts on the structure of the film. Did you kind of feel what I was feeling? Especially with like the fight scene at the end. Were you picking up on that? Or were you just like, psh, I didn't care, I was engaged the whole time? There may just be things about this movie I missed. What are some things I missed? What are some things you appreciated? What are some things you didn't like? Comment. Tell me about it. I want to hear. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.